the closet, let me tell you. And it is only saying one thing, that India's Operation Sindoor has caused untold psychological and material damage to Pakistan's politico-military complex. Now just look at this image, viewers. Look at it very closely. Why am I drawing your attention to this? Because this is taken from a Google Earth satellite. And it tells the untold story of India's strike on Pakistan's secret underground nuclear weapons facility in Kirana Hills. India may have repeatedly denied that it carried out any such offensive action, perhaps for tactical and diplomatic reasons. But the impact from an Indian-fired rocket is clearly visible. These images have been passed, viewers, by a technical expert called Damien Simon. He's accessed these pictures, and you can see in the middle of your screens that little splotchiness. That's where the munition impact scar has taken place. It is not very close to any of the operative parts of what could be designated Pakistan's nuclear facility, but it was a clear warning shot by India, a warning shot by Delhi, that Pakistan's nuclear material, fissile material, is within our target. And viewers, there is a feeling that it may have pushed Pakistan to run to the United States, to knock aggressively on Washington's door to seek intervention, intermediation. It has done it earlier in Kargil also, don't forget. Does this explain why Islamabad called India requesting for a ceasefire? Viewers, this image makes it clear that we were actually in a position to rattle Pakistan to the core. But we didn't go ahead because clearly it would have meant crossing a Rubicon. No wonder that today the Prime Minister, ahead of the first Parliament session post Operation Sindoor, was sounding so triumphant, branding the entire session a Vijay Utsav, or a session called in honor of a victory celebration. And let me, viewers, quote you what the Prime Minister said. He said, viewers, and this is important, pay attention to his words. He said the target set by the Indian Army in Operation Sindoor was achieved 100%. Under Operation Sindoor, the houses of the masters of terrorists were razed to the ground within 22 minutes. 22 minutes. This monsoon session is a celebration of victory. The whole world has seen the strength of India's military power. And he goes on to say, so all the MPs in the House, give it strength, take it forward. That is, he's referring to India's triumphant victory. And I will definitely say that every political party has its own agenda, its own role, but I accept this reality that dal hit mein mat bhale na mile, lekin desh hit mein man zarur mile. This is what the Prime Minister said. Listen in, viewers.
ये मानसून सत्र एक विजयोत्सव है। पूरी दुनिया ने भारत की सैन्य शक्ति का, भारत के सैन्य के सामर्थ्य का रूप देखा है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में भारत की सेना ने जो लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया था 100% अचीव किया। आतंकियों के आकाओं के घर में जाकर के 22 मिनट के भीतर भीतर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के तहत उसको जमींदोज कर दिया गया।
Viewers, the Prime Minister's statement and all these facts are appearing even as the opposition has been mounting a scurrilous, some people would say, attack on the Prime Minister, accusing him of surrendering India's national interest at the urgings of President Trump. But clearly armed with the facts, viewers, the Prime Minister is feeling very confident. So confident that he's thrown down the gauntlet by agreeing to a 16-hour debate with the intention of answering each and every opposition question. And by doing so, the Prime Minister is putting his own credibility on the line, viewers. Ordinarily, this should have been enough for the opposition to allow the House to function. But that didn't happen. It is in any mood to do so. Today, in fact, the Congress and SP changed the goalpost. Rahul Gandhi claimed that the debate by itself is not good enough because he, as the LOP, isn't even allowed to speak in the House. Listen to this.
डिफेंस मिनिस्टर को बोलने देते हैं, उनके लोगों को बोलने देते हैं, मगर अगर विपक्ष का कोई कुछ कहना चाहता है तो अलाउड नहीं है. मैं लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन हूँ, मेरा हक है, तो मुझे तो कभी बोलने ही नहीं देते हैं. तो ये एक नया अप्रोच है.
पहलगांव बहुत महत्वपूर्ण विषय है. पहलगांव से सरकार को छिपना नहीं चाहिए. सभी विपक्ष के लोग चाहते हैं बहस हो, सभी सांसद अपनी बात रखना चाहते हैं. सरकार सुने और सरकार जवाब दे.
Viewers, the hard facts of course belie Rahul Gandhi's claims. And let me break it down for you because the hard facts are essential to this show, viewers. And by quoting and stating them, I bring you closer to the truth. And that's my intention. Rahul Gandhi, contrary to his claims, has spoken in Parliament 8 times in the last 24 months. 8 times, viewers. Rahul Gandhi has asked only 15 questions, which is well below the national average of 47 for MPs. So, viewers, what stops him from posing more questions to the government? He's spoken 8 times. Viewers, Rahul Gandhi spoke on a debate on unemployment on the 26th of March 2024. Rahul Gandhi spoke on the Mahakumbh stampede. Rahul Gandhi spoke on the NEET paper leak issue on the 28th of June 2024. And let me tell you, viewers, Rahul Gandhi has also chosen not to speak on some of the biggest issues. Now, you remember, viewers, the Congress party has been, even today, talking about Manipur, the Prime Minister's silence on Manipur. But you know what, viewers? Let me tell you something that will shock you. In April 2025, during the Lok Sabha session, and it was a debate on Manipur that was triggered at night, and Rahul Gandhi left the House. That was a perfect time for him to put Prime Minister Modi and the NDA government in the dock. But viewers, he walked out. He left. I don't know why. So viewers, no one stops him. He voluntarily quit, left the House. Let me tell you, viewers, when it came to the Waqf Amendment Bill, that Rahul Gandhi has made a test of minority rights in this country. He was nowhere to be found in the House, let alone someone trying to put down his mic. He was not even there in the House, viewers, when that debate was taking place. Can you imagine the commitment of this man? I'm sorry, I'm being a little partisan, but the hard facts are speaking for themselves. Because this is a very serious issue, viewers. This is about putting India first. And when people try to now discredit the debate that is going to take place next week, because the government has agreed to conducting a 16-hour debate in just the Lok Sabha, 24 hours in both houses. Rahul Gandhi is now trying to suggest that his voice is going to be quashed and therefore that debate holds no consequence. Viewers, Rahul Gandhi even skipped the debate when the House was criminalizing triple talaq. And these hard facts, viewers, prompt several questions. Is the opposition's dogged and self-serving effort to deny Modi credit robbing the sheen of an epical military victory? Are the bogus conspiracy theories in the face of the Prime Minister throwing down the gauntlet a sure sign that NDA is on the back foot? That India, rather, is on the back foot, viewers. These are some questions. These are the basic ones. And let's open this up. Let's not hold up the debate. And I want to begin first with a very, very senior and well-respected, seasoned Indian politician who's joining me, and that's Mr. Pawan Verma. Today, he represents the Jan Swaraj party. He's the senior most spokesperson of that party. They're going to be contesting the elections in Bihar, vociferous opponents of the NDA there, as also, of course, the Congress. But Mr. Verma also brings to the table something that others on this table don't quite have, which is, viewers, some experience as a diplomat. And Mr. Verma, I have to ask you the basic question tonight, and the one that the nation is wanting to ask. You see, you have people like Shashi Tharoor, who has been a diplomatic cadre member of the United Nations in the past. You also have the example of, guess whom, viewers? P. Chidambaram, who sided with the Prime Minister's decision to call for a ceasefire. So I think we're just going to get back, Mr. Verma, in a few seconds, but Nikhil joins me on this debate also. Let's bring him into this conversation. We also have the BJP national spokesperson. So experienced hands, we have Dr. Ranganathan with us, and of course, the irrepressible voice of the AIMM with us, Waris Pathan. But I want to begin first with the Congress spokesperson also, Nikhil Jain. Nikhil, I have to ask you this question because, look, it appears to me that Rahul Gandhi is now very artfully changing the goalpost. He probably didn't expect the Prime Minister and the government to say, okay, we're going to take you on in the House. Now he says, what's the point of the debate? I'm not even allowed to speak. So I've given you some hard facts. He's spoken 8 times in the last 24 months. In fact, he only asked 15 questions in the last 24 months, which is well below the national average for 47 MPs. 47 is the number of questions that have been asked by MPs in the past. All through this year. So hang on. Rahul Gandhi chooses to also abstain from the Manipur debate, which you have made a big issue of. The Prime Minister's silence, but when it came to debating it, he wasn't there. So is Rahul Gandhi today realizing that India is on the back foot? The AAP is already saying, one of your own allies is already saying, you should not have allowed a situation where the Prime Minister is going to be holding forth in Parliament because you've given up our advantage. The bluff will be called. You're chickening out, sir. You don't have the facts. That's the question.
Rahul, so first of all, let me clarify for your viewers that I'm not an official spokesperson of the Congress. I'm merely a supporter of the party. Secondly, thank you so much for raising the important issues that the leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi, has raised in the Parliament, whether it is NEET or the whole host of other issues. So far as the Manipur issue is concerned, Rahul Gandhi gave the lead
so
to
you're
the
conceding. One second. So you're just to start with, you're conceding that Rahul Gandhi gets enough and ample time to speak. Let me tell you, sir, he got 1 hour 24 minutes in one instance, 1 hour 40 minutes in another instance to speak. I mean, short of Fidel Castro, I'm sorry to say, but not many can beat that record. Let me tell you that. That's a long time to be speaking.
Rahul, can I please answer without interjections? Of course, yes, as the leader of opposition, as one of the senior most MPs in the Parliament, he does get to speak. Nobody is saying that he does not get to speak at all. The point is, he is not getting enough time. He is not being offered the enough courtesies. And can I please answer before you interject me again? On the issue of Manipur, Gaurav Gogoi, the deputy leader of opposition, is the person who took the lead as being somebody who comes from the Northeast, who's any day would be a better choice than Rahul Gandhi, who has no direct connection with Northeast. That being said, also, I would like to commend you on the brilliant report that you showed about the Kairana hill strikes that our forces did. Of course, we're not admitting that for tactical reasons, and I agree with the government on that particular view that it's taken. It also shows how our forces had the lead during Operation Sindoor. Yet, because of political compulsions, and I'm only quoting the words of our defense attaché in Indonesia, Captain Shiv Kumar, because of the political compulsions, our forces did have to suffer losses. And then subsequently, because of the diplomatic failures of this government, we could not get any very tangible results out of the success of our forces in Operation Sindoor. Masood Azhar is still free. Pakistan is not in the FATF list. POK is not a part of us. Baluchistan is still a part of Pakistan. Pakistan is going around telling the world something else. We are going around telling the world something else. Donald Trump is the one who announced the ceasefire. By the way, the government does not say that we have entered into a ceasefire. You just said it's a ceasefire. Most people believe it's a ceasefire. But the government says, no, it's not a ceasefire. Yet Donald Trump announced it before India or Pakistan could, and he's gone around the world 24 times claiming that and saying that we pressured down India by means of trade.
Mr. Jain, if it is so obvious to everybody in the world, then why is Rahul Gandhi using a phony excuse? Now, let me tell you, you talked about political compulsions having led to the decision to announce what you are putatively calling a ceasefire, that Rahul Gandhi refers to as a ceasefire surrender, in fact. While Operation Sindoor is still on, let me tell you, viewers, when your own former Home Minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram, has come out and said, And let me read this out to you. It's a report, viewers, which quotes him.
I was talking about the losses
Senior
that
Congress
Captain
leaders.
J.
No,
Kumar
one
talked
second. I don't change the.
No, but
look,
Captain
no, one second.
Kumar talked about
Don't
the
jump
losses
me,
our
sir.
forces
Don't jump
suffered
me. I'm
because
only
of political
correcting. Look, you just said that it was a political decision that some captain has said somewhere in some press conference somewhere abroad. So just one minute. And he was royally ticked off for speaking out of line. But viewers, have we conveniently forgotten what even P. Chidambaram said? And listen to this. Senior Congress leaders have backed the Indian government's decision. Now this is Indian Express, viewers, to reach a ceasefire understanding with Pakistan following days of cross-border hostilities, calling it a wise and necessary move to prevent further loss of lives. While former Union Minister P. Chidambaram praised Prime Minister Modi and called it a wise decision not to escalate the situation, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor said the lesson India wanted to deliver has been delivered, and prolonging the conflict was never the intention. And remember, viewers, he's speaking as the chairman of the Standing Committee of Parliament on, viewers, External Affairs. This is not some defense attaché. This is also the lead interlocutor for India in world capitals. But I'm not going to hog this debate, viewers, by giving you the hard facts meticulously to puncture all these claims. I'm going to get in the BJP national spokesperson, then Dr. Ranganathan and Varis Pathan, the irrepressible voice of the opposition today. Mr. Tuhin Sinha, how do you respond to Nikhil Jain saying that, look, Rahul Gandhi is not given enough time to speak. It's not that he's not allowed to speak, he's just not given enough time. And therefore,
good evening.
A big disservice is being done. And in Rahul Gandhi's own words, the question is that defense minister and their people are allowed to speak. But if someone from the opposition wants to say something, he's not allowed. So basically now they are calling into question the credibility of the process. How do you respond to this?
Good evening, Rahul. Good evening, everybody. I think Rahul Gandhi needs to realize that the parliament is not the Congress party office. He needs to follow certain rules. He has to give a notice when he has to speak. And if he doesn't, yesterday a CPIM member of parliament called him immature. Today he behaves in an immature manner. See, let me tell you very responsibly that we are raring to go, to have a discussion on Operation Sindoor. This time the Congress's obstructionist antics will not succeed. We will pin them down for a 16-hour debate in Lok Sabha and a 9-hour debate in Rajya Sabha. But they need to wait for the time. If the Prime Minister is traveling abroad, today Jairam Ramesh again tweets that every time the parliament is in session, the prime minister goes abroad. Let me remind them that Dr. Manmohan Singh had made 15 trips abroad during parliament session. The only difference being, while the prime minister goes abroad to bring laurels for the country, if I remind you of 2009 July, when Dr. Manmohan Singh went to Sharm el-Sheikh, again the parliament was in session. He brought disgrace to the country by allowing, India's role in Balochistan to be probed. So that is the difference between a Congress Prime Minister and a BJP Prime Minister. And let me again repeat that, Rahul Gandhi should give up his obstructionist antics and his tactics, because this time we are raring to have a go to expose all of the falsehood. Can you imagine a victory has been converted into surrender by the Congress party? Can you imagine they have cast aspersions on the ceasefire based on what President Trump has been saying? They don't bother to listen to our own DGMO on 11th May, our own Prime Minister when he addressed the nation on 12th May, then again on 17th June, when after Prime Minister's 35-minute conversation with President Trump, a detailed explainer was released to the media. They don't trust us. They believe in President Trump, who, by the way, on the 24 occasions that he has spoken, has not been consistent himself.
Okay.
So I think, the Congress party cannot run away this time. They will have to, they will be exposed next week.
Okay, so let me ask Dr. Ranganathan the same question that I posed to Nikhil. Are the bogus conspiracy theories now being floated or resorted to by Rahul Gandhi in the face of the Prime Minister throwing down the gauntlet a sure sign that India is on the back foot?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Before I come to the nub of the issue, and I'll be brief on there, I just want to say, when Rahul is claiming that he's not getting even an hour to speak, trust me, he just needs to spend 5 minutes with you, the other Rahul. And he'll be running faster than Usain Bolt. He won't be able to answer a single question that you would pose to him, and I guarantee you that. whichever topic you take on. For example, 10 seconds, you want to take on corruption. Rahul wants to welcome questions on it. Well, the three questions that you would ask would be that why, when you said that the anonymous electoral bonds was a scam, why did you take 600 crores from it? Why, when you said that the BJP committed corruption by amending the FCRA Act retrospectively, why did you support the BJP in doing it? Why, when you say that Adani is corrupt, why did your Congress states invest 1 lakh crores in Adani's company? So any topic you choose, Rahul is going to run faster than anybody you know with questioning from you, and that is why he never gives you an interview. Now let me come to the topic. At a time when the entire nation should come together, Rahul, I think it is shameful, really shameful, how the Congress and Rahul Gandhi are behaving repeatedly for the last month. Why is Field Marshal Rahul Gandhi talking the language of Pakistan? As Modi said today, Operation Sindoor has been an unqualified roaring success, any which way you look at it. And you know what? That is why the Congress hates it. Because its decades-long incompetence stands exposed. Let me explain, because your viewers might not understand the gravity of this. Number one, we have called out possibly once and for all Pakistan's nuclear bluff by targeting with precision and at will deep into mainland Pakistan. The satellite imagery shows it not once, but 24 locations at their terror hubs, airfields, ammo dumps, military locations. Their nuclear bluff lies crunched up in the nearest trash can, and they know it. And perhaps that is why, Rahul, Congress is hateful, because it has always succumbed to Pakistan's nuclear bluff, never called it out. Remember the time when we didn't bomb Pakistan's terror hubs in the wake of 26/11 despite pleadings of our Air Force Chief? Number two, we have asserted the robustness of our offense and, more crucially, our defense capabilities. The stupendous success of ADS, the pinpoint accuracy of our missile strikes deep into Pakistan while our fighters not entering their airspace, is an incredible reassurance to all Indians. And perhaps that is why the Congress is hateful, because under it, our defense capabilities and equipment were found to be woefully short of the necessary requirement. Most crucially, our fighter jet squadron strength. And under Congress, do you remember, we were proud to knock made road infrastructure because we reasoned if we made it, the enemy would use it. Number three, we have now lassoed the Indus Water Treaty into the tightest possible leash on the terror state of Pakistan with a tap-off, tap-on decision we will take depending upon their behavior. Perhaps that is why the Congress is hateful, because it signed its Synchronian Treaty that was unbelievably lopsided against India and gave Pakistan the upper hand for 60 years through 3 wars and hundreds of terror attacks. And finally, number four, the new doctrine that we have formalized, that from now on, every act of terror will be seen as an act of war, is again a great plus. Pakistan now knows that every Pahalgam or Pulwama or 26/11 like terror attack will be met with an Operation Sindoor like response. Perhaps that is why the Congress is hateful, because under it, we were giving concessions to Pakistan even on Balochistan. We continue to have Pakistan as the most favored nation despite terrible terror attacks. It is time the Congress behaves like one of its leaders, just one perhaps, Shashi Tharoor, or maybe he won't be one of its leaders for too long.
Well, that prompts me to ask Mr. Pawan Verma, thank you for joining the panel. We wanted to start with you, Mr. Verma, but something wrong with the communication link. Waris Bhai is also here with us. Mr. Pathan is here with us. So we have very experienced hands on this debate. You, of course, now represent the Jan Swaraj party, Mr. Verma, senior-most spokesperson of that party, embroiled in the Bihar election campaign. But let me ask you, and this is a question that I have to pose with you because you are also a former diplomat, so you know best the implications of this blockade, slightly disruptionist politics that the opposition is playing. And I'm sorry, but I have no other, being very partisan here because I've had hard facts. Rahul Gandhi has today come out and said that, look, I'm not even allowed to speak. And I've listed the number of instances when he's been allowed to speak, with the number of hours, and also the times when he's chosen to exit the house. The Manipur debate, if you remember, very, very famously, the Waqf debate, national issues, walked out. So I'm asking you, there are 2 or 3 questions here. Maybe you can attempt them. First of all, is the opposition's dogged and self-serving effort to deny Modi credit robbing the sheen of an epical military victory scored by India? Point 1. Second question, are these bogus conspiracy theories now being propounded by Rahul Gandhi that I'm not denied, etc., an attempt to discredit the debate process entirely? And most importantly, look at the way the Congress is threatening to isolate Tharoor for his pro-India stance. Is that a sure sign that India First stance angers the Congress party and therefore today it finds itself playing this game of one-upmanship, pettily?
Thank you, Rahul. My apologies for the poor connectivity, but I want to answer your questions substantially. I am the chief spokesperson of a new party, Swaraj, currently making waves in Bihar, and which is a national party after Bihar, as you shall see. I'm very clear on one thing as the spokesperson of a new party led by Prashant Kishore. We are against the continuous adjournment of Parliament. We are against rowdyism in Parliament. We expect the Treasury benches to take into account the valid questions of the opposition and the opposition to not believe that the only response they can give to the Treasury benches is to disrupt the proceedings of the House, leading to one adjournment after another. You're robbing the people of India from a constructive debate where they would like to hear what the opposition has to say and like to see what the Treasury benches reply. Tell me which democratic parliament, Rahul, functions in a manner where every day almost, if not every day, absolutely, Parliament is adjourned. In its entire history, the House of Commons has not been adjourned for a single day. We'll soon reach a record where there is not a single day when our Parliament is not adjourned. So first of all, we are for Parliament to function. Second of all, we are for Parliament to function in a manner where the Treasury benches are responsive to the demands of the opposition. And secondly, the opposition actually participates in a debate or allows the opportunity for a debate. I am amazed that when you have so much to say, and I have questions, I don't for a moment doubt the success of Operation Sindoor or the need for it in order to give a befitting reply to Pakistan. But at the same time, in a democracy, the opposition or any independent thinker has a right to ask questions relating to the ceasefire, to Trump's claims, to our assertion, to the manner in which we managed to succeed in our targets, to the initial perhaps lapses in security that led to it. This is all part of a constructive debate in a democracy.
Yes.
It's not that if I ask a question, I am saying that the entire operation was bad, India has lost, etc. These are
Yes, but Mr. Verma, look, the fact is...
We don't believe in extreme
No,
positions.
absolutely. And therefore, I want to bring in the AM Smasher spokesman. You make a valid point. So you're saying...
Can I answer the question on Shashi Tharoor?
Yes.
One last point.
Yes.
I have never seen a political party so effortlessly losing an advantage as the Congress did with Shashi Tharoor.
There you go, viewers.
The BJP thought that it would embarrass the Congress by selecting Shashi Tharoor to be one of the leaders of the all-party delegation. If I was Rahul Gandhi, I would have invited Shashi Tharoor and held a press conference and said, after all, when the ruling party needs the most credible person to speak for what the interests of the country are, they cannot but choose a congressman.
Okay, they also chose...
That is how mature parties react.
Mature is the word.
Congress party is governed by small egos, even worse coteries, and no sense of
small egos and
strategy.
coteries, and the other opposition parties are at their own peril now beginning to support this game of petty one-upmanship, Waris Bhai. And you know, I have to commend you because your leader chose to break ranks from the opposition. He played a stellar role in the outreach. And I think that your leader And he needs no introduction, Mr. Owaisi, must be quite upset today with the Congress's doublespeak. Here, you see, the grouse that Mr. Pawan Verma seemed to express was that, look, we don't want the Treasury benches to deny us. Well, the Treasury benches on this issue of national importance have set aside 25 hours in both houses of parliament for a discussion only on Operation Sindoor, saying we'll answer every question, and so the Prime Minister will answer every question, ask us. But now, the opposition is saying, but you see, these debates are rigged against us, we are not allowed to speak. What is going on? Sir, are you so scared of giving the Prime Minister some credit? Is that what it is really at the end of the day?
Well, Rahul,
Varis Bhai, good evening.
Well, Rahul, good evening to you and to my fellow co-panelists. First thing is, Rahul, the responsibility of the present government for the smooth functioning of the parliament. See, people choose, they elect the MPs from their localities, from their constituencies, to ensure and to see that they go to the parliament, raise their issues.
Yeah.
But if one day the parliament is adjourned, Rahul, you won't imagine how much taxpayers' money is spent on that. Every day, crores of rupees are spent on the parliament proceedings. But today, one day, the parliament could not function and crores of rupees have just gone to.
But why couldn't it
what
function?
was money, yours and mine. So because for the functioning of smooth functioning of the parliament, both the opposition as well as the ruling party must come and take an initiative that, okay, we will answer to your question. It is the responsibility of the opposition leaders as well to ensure that, okay, the questions, they ask the question, and also the responsibility of the Prime Minister.
Yeah, the Prime Minister came out and said that, look, we will have a debate
by the opposition.
Yes,
because
so the Prime
Rahul,
Minister
this
is
is a very important session.
Yeah, it
Rahul,
is.
This monsoon session which started today is a very important session because many important issues are to be raised and very important discussion is to take place because India-Pakistan war has happened.
True.
What happened to those 4 terrorists who are still not arrested? What happened to them? These are the questions.
Legitimate questions.
And now you just raised the point of that delegation which went abroad.
Yeah.
Our party, President Asad Owaisi, was part of one of the delegations which went abroad and they lambasted Pakistan left, right and center.
Yes.
So we did not go and represent the BJP. None of the party members went there as the representative of their party. They went there to represent Bharat as a whole. And the entire world saw that 140 crore Indians, when they come together shoulder to shoulder, they can show the power to the entire world that what we are. And same thing happened. Our party president went there and lambasted. He called them stupid jokers. He in fact said the Asim Muni was the painting he was giving to them was totally bogus and fake and everything. And wherever they went there, and they were also, Rahul, they also explained to them, they were also successfully explaining to the world that how Pakistan is supporting terrorism, and we have been the victim for this terrorist activity since we saw 9/11, we saw Pulwama, now Pahalgam. So these are many issues which are to be answered in the parliament, and the nation wants to listen to.
No, that's all fine. That's what I'm saying.
Every person wants to know what is.
But the government is
committing.
committing time, and that's where the problem is. Still, you see obstructionism. Yes, doctor. Doctor wants to come in.
Rahul, I just wish
the same law should be applicable to the opposition. The law under which the government wants to apply the same law which the opposition is asking.
Sir, you know the facts, and I'm showing you Rahul Gandhi in the House when he has spoken at length. He is today saying he's being denied. Doctor. Yes, doctor.
Rahul, on a lighter note, I just wish the parliament was conducted by someone like you. Look at the way the last half an hour has been conducted by you. All disparate, different voices, but everyone has had their time to list out their grievances or opinions.
But I have to say, there's some very big news coming in, gentlemen. Very, very big news. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar has tendered his resignation, viewers. He has tendered his resignation as we speak. This is a massive, massive development. I don't know last when such a step was taken. We're going to try and connect to Payal Mehta, but let me just read out what the Vice President said, because he's written a letter. This is very big. To prioritize, and he says, healthcare and abide by medical advice. I hereby resign as the Vice President of India, effective immediately in accordance with Article 67A of the Constitution. I extend my deepest gratitude to Your Excellency, the Honorable President of India, for her unwavering support and soothing, wonderful working relationship we maintained during my tenure. Big news, viewers. Very big news in the middle of this broadcast. I express my deep gratitude to the Honorable Prime Minister and the esteemed Council of Ministers. Prime Minister's cooperation and support have been invaluable, and I have learnt much during my time in office. Big news, and it's breaking now, full screen on your screens, viewers. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar has resigned. He's citing health reasons, medical advice for this. He's also expressing his thanks and unwavering loyalty to the President of India, saying that they have had the most brilliant working relationship. But he's also saying that he's deeply thankful for the invaluable experiences, insights he has gained as Vice President of our great democracy. It has been a privilege and satisfaction to witness and partake in India's remarkable economic progress, unprecedented exponential development during this significant period. Let me go across to Payal Mehta for more on this. Payal, health reasons prima facie being stated here by Vice President Dhankar. Can you elaborate a little bit on this? Coming out of really nowhere, what's the health exigency?
Rahul, the Vice President did suffer a health scare a couple of sessions ago, and he had to in fact go through a heart procedure and was admitted in hospital for quite a few days. That is prima facie the fact that he's stating today in terms of the reason for him stepping down. This is absolutely unprecedented given the fact that the Vice President still had about 2 years to go to complete his term as the Vice President of India before he moved on. But he in fact came in, to fill in the shoes of Venkaiah Naidu, who was the former Vice President. As of now, he's expressing his great, admiration for the kind of, faith that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had imposed in him and, entrusted him with the responsibility. This is massive news coming in, and that too, after the first day of Parliament session. It's an ongoing session as well. We'll have to just wait and see how this goes on and who fills in as a replacement for him in the coming times. But this is coming in from nowhere. Although, Rahul, today the whole day there were a series of meetings that we saw in Parliament. The Prime Minister had an hour-and-a-half long meeting with his senior cabinet ministers, followed by a series of meetings happening between, Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, JP Nadda, and all the senior leaders within the BJP.
Yeah, because Payal, apart from, of course, his roles and duties as a Vice President, this is the monsoon session is underway, and he's the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So this is also a very important criticality. Not that others can't depute for him, but it leaves a massive void. Also, Payal, he has been playing, some would say, a very valuable role in defining the ethics on certain very important issues which are extremely germane to the future of our democracy.
Well, of course, the Vice President has not been shying on calling out leaders who actually, crossed the limit or probably jumped the gun. The Vice President has constantly kept his, remarks in the Parliament largely based on the Constitution and constitutional values. He's had a lot of run-ins with a lot of leaders within the opposition, especially from people from Bengal, who actually he's had a lot of, acrimony with in the past, also when he was the governor of West Bengal, from where he came to become the Vice President of India. But prima facie is citing his health reasons, and the Vice President, like I said, during a couple of sessions ago, in fact, had a health scare. But it is very interesting because just this morning, Rahul, I spotted him, taking a round of the Parliament premises before the start of the session, probably, looking at, whether every detailing was in place or not, or whether, everything was ready for the session to really begin. And it's going to be quite a situation given the fact that, you have the ongoing monsoon session of Parliament. This entire week is going to be extremely critical with the Prime Minister travelling overseas. Today they had to run in at the Business Advisory Committee meeting also, where the acrimony between the government and the opposition was very, very well witnessed. And they could not come to a conclusion in terms of what bill needs to be awarded what time. There was supposed to be another meeting at 4:30, which also I believe was left pretty inconclusive. So obviously, lots happening in Parliament, and there was a lot of build-up, with the fact that there were so many meetings happening today in Parliament, Rahul.
Well, just to stay on with me, we're going to try to get reactions. But Payal, and of course, we have some of our guests here with us. Pallavi also, of course, joining this broadcast. Pallavi Ghosh. Pallavi, Jagdeep Dhankhar, some people in the opposition have gunned for him. As you know, there have been cheap skits that have been performed outside of Parliament by a TMC MP in the past. I think it was 2 sessions back, which created a huge shindig in the House. Jagdeep Dhankhar speaking on certain very sensitive issues like judicial corruption and impropriety. He's talked about the future of India's democracy. He's talked about illegal infiltration. He's talked about several issues with regards to the importance of insulating our institutions from what is known as summary and reflexive criticism. So the man has been out there in the forefront, And now comes this unexpected and perhaps unprecedented resignation of a VP in the chair. I don't know, we'll have to investigate to see if this has happened in the past, but this is significant, isn't it?
Absolutely, Rahul. And look at the timing of it. First of all of us who have been following the proceedings of the House, we have been seeing that he has often complained of health problems. So health is a very strong ground on which he has resigned. But look at the timing. You're absolutely right. As the governor of West Bengal, he was always involved in a run-in as far as the Chief Minister of Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, is concerned. When he came over here, right from day one, the TMC versus Jagdeep Dhankhar spat was something which we would never ever miss. And Kalyan Banerjee, for example, a Trinamool Congress member of parliament from Lok Sabha, mimicking him, that also came across as something which was unprecedented. And he would often talk about the fact, in fact, till yesterday itself, I remember he was actually coming out with the comment that, we need to have a kind of a bonhomie, whether it's about corruption in the judiciary, whether it is about getting along together. He, of course, has been one of the most articulate voices. Coming in from a humble background, an agricultural background, Jat family from Rajasthan, those were the credentials with which he was chosen. But I think the timing is very significant because just today there were many signatories, 145 of them, who signed the impeachment proceedings. He would have actually supervised that. And that is the reason why it becomes extremely important, the timing of Jagdeep Dhankar's exit as the Vice President of India.
Yes, the timing obviously is being pegged to health worries. Payal also there with us. And we also have Aman Sharma. We also have some of our political guests, so we're going to draw them in. But Aman, very quickly, you've been covering politics for a long while. You know that the Vice President has always pitched himself and not been shy of making his mind very, very volubly, in fact, clear on certain very, very dramatic issues, and has stirred the pot a little bit, if I might say. So this is a big void. He was the articulate face, really, of the two, whether it's the President and the Vice President. He was taking the lead on a large number of issues.
Well, Rahul, absolute very surprising announcement which has come from Mr. Dhankar today. And, I would trace this back to March when Mr. Dhankar was admitted to AIIMS for 3 days. It was related to, statement had said it was related to cardiac related ailments, and he was there at AIIMS for almost 3 days, but he had returned all hale and hearty. In fact, I remember meeting him recently at the book launch of Mr. Ram Madhav, where he was the chief guest, and he spoke on the stage, he stood on the stage, spoke for almost 35 to 40 minutes. He was very fit, he is still very fit, and of course he speaks his mind, but I think some health issues, and he says he's been given this health advice by doctors to step down from this post because of it demands also, Rahul, a lot, to sit in the parliament all day and the vice president duties. These are very significant duties, and that is why I think Mr. Dhankar has taken a very considered call based on his health condition, which has been advised to him by the doctors. And that said, I agree with you completely. This leaves a big void because, his presence in the Rajya Sabha and also as the vice president of the country was very significant. He has passed his wisdom many a time while speaking from the chair, given a piece of his mind to the opposition also many a time for them to let the house run. And he's been a big proponent, in fact, also of clean judiciary, and he's been making this point very, very relentlessly since the last 3
and
to 4
not just
months.
that, I mean, he even sort of entered into the debate on the preamble, on the question of including secularism or not, etc., etc. So just stay on with me. I just want to also open this up to some of our guests. Tuin Sinha of the BJP is here with us. Dr. Anand Ranganathan remains with us, keen political observer also. Tuin Sinha, medical reasons, but a fine voice, intellectual voice, who has been speaking on several issues. Was he, I'm not trying to suggest anything here, was he somehow at some length or the other extending himself a bit too much? And he was copying a lot of criticism from the opposition. Some of it was very vile, as you know, and you know the TMC MP and the way he behaved. And he, remember, broke down in the House and he said, I can't go on like this. Could this also have played a part?
The suddenness of the Vice President's decision is certainly shocking. He's somebody known for his outspokenness, his articulation on issues of national importance. And that's the way he was, both, as the governor of Bengal and as vice president of the country. And the indecency and the mayhem that opposition leaders used to cause in parliament used to particularly disturb him, because he was somebody, who wanted the proceedings to go smoothly, the discussion to happen on time. So yes, I mean, he had a very distinctive persona, and he will be missed. I still, it's still sinking in. I don't know why this decision has to be so sudden, but then I think that's life.
Yeah, that is life. And Dr. Ranganathan, you've had an issue with your ticker at one time, and these things can strike at will without any control. But what I'm trying to get at is that, look, it's already a stressful job to begin with. The added pressure of the barbs that were directed at him by the opposition must have made this a living hell, to be honest. Because, I'll just give you an example of what he said. Dr. Ranganathan, he said on this entire issue of, at one level, tinkering with the constitution that Indira Gandhi did during the emergency, he came out and said that, look, as far as this is concerned, this is not right, because he said that the words added in the preamble during emergency have been added as Nasur, a sacrilege to the spirits of Sanatana. What a travesty of justice. First we change something that is not changeable, alterable, and then change it during emergency. The preamble, the soul of the constitution, should have been respected rather than tweaked, altered, and decimated. Except Bharat, no other constitution's preamble has undergone change. And this was just one of those words. There was also, of course, a whole exchange that he had on the importance of the opposition understanding its own role when it came to the functioning of parliament. And most importantly, very importantly, he also talked about judicial impropriety, which many people chafed at.
No, absolutely. First of all, I'm wishing all the very best to the Honorable Vice President for a very quick recovery. I don't know the exact health reasons, but I wish him very well. He's been one of our wonderful Vice Presidents, Rahul, as you said. But, the pointed question that you asked, whether the daily rigmarole of the vice presidentship, especially being the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, where everyone's fighting like cats and dogs, whether that took its toll, I doubt it. I think he's a very seasoned politician and a governor who actually ruled with a lot of alacrity and perspicacity, if I may say so. And, any amount of abuse that he was showered upon recently pales in comparison to when he was the governor of West Bengal. But there again, I want to show you a picture of his with Mamata Di. This was when he was about to leave. And there was a lot of bonhomie. They were all smiles and laughter. So I think it took all those things, as a lot of politicians, seasoned politicians do, in his stride, like Narendra Modi, the amount of abuse that he gets, or anybody else. So I don't think that possibly could be the reason. If it is, I'm very sorry to hear that. But I wish him all the very best. Going forward, I think it does.
Rahul, can I make a point?
Yeah, 1 second. Let him finish. Yeah, doctor. Yeah, finish. Yeah, going forward.
I think going forward, I'm just looking from the absolute top of my head, the viable candidates. With the governorship experience.
No, I'll get Pallavi and Aman in on that, because there's a whole process that will be set into motion. So I'll get, yes, Twin Sinha. Yeah.
Rahul, we know for a fact that he was unwell in the last few months. But when you are unwell, when you're battling a heart issue, the kind of vilification that certain opposition members, and by the way, also a section of the press, today I have with me an article written by The Wire. Can you imagine the kind of headline they had planted? Dhankars disgrace when the vice president becomes a partisan attack dog, democracy bleeds. So, when a section of the press unleashes this kind of vilification against the vice president, I'm sure that must have been impacting his health. And I think, media like The Wire and politicians like the TMC MP who was lampooning and making fun of him should today apologize, and today should feel remorse at their behavior, because I'm sure, he's he was handling a very stressful responsibility, and all of these vilification campaigns must have been adding to the stress.
Well, viewers, of course, the Prime Minister and Jagdeep Dhankhar enjoyed a good relationship. There has been talk in the past of their mutual admiration for each other. And of course, as chairman of the House in the Rajya Sabha, he played a pivotal role. So I just want to open this up to both Pallavi and Aman now. Aman, first to you, what's the process going forward? And Pallavi, of course, for you to think about a couple of issues that we have raised and spoken about, this constant, I won't even call it dog whistle, but blatant attacks on the personage of the Vice President. So, was that really a factor? Well, let me come out to Aman first. Yes, Aman.
Well, Rahul, the process is very simple. Now, Mr. Harivansh will fill in for Mr. Dhankar, in the Rajya Sabha, in the chair for the next about 2 months for maybe the rest of this session. In fact, the monsoon session of Parliament, before an election is notified by the Election Commission of India for the Vice President, and the members have to vote. Then there's a process to that, and the government will soon get on the job. And it will be very interesting now to see who fills the shoes of Mr. Jagdeep Dhankhar, who will the choice of the government will be for that very, very important post in the Rajya Sabha, where the BJP does have a slight edge now after, recent wins in the states. But the process is that within 60 days, you need to do the election, and Mr. Harivansh will fill in for the rest of the monsoon session of Parliament. And Rahul, as I was earlier mentioning, I'll take this back to what happened in March. For 4 days, when Mr. Dhankar was admitted to AIIMS for cardiac-related ailments, he was there for 4 days. He returned all hale and hearty. The statement said that he had fully recovered from that. But clearly, it seems that that stayed with him, and he's now citing those health-related ailments. He's 74 years of age, so he's decided to take a break from the rather rigorous duties of being the Vice President as well as the chairman of the Rajya Sabha.
Okay, Pallavi, I remember, and I'm just going to go back to a few months ago. In fact, also today, and. He had put out a tweet, and this was at 15 minutes, 12:15 this afternoon, and he said, "Honourable members," and he's talking to presumably the Rajya Sabha MPs. He's saying, "A thriving democracy cannot sustain constant acrimony. Political tension must be reduced, as confrontation is not the essence of politics. While political parties may pursue the same goals through different approaches, no one in India opposes the nation's interests. I urge all political parties to foster bonhomie and mutual respect, avoiding unbecoming language or personal attacks against leaders on television or elsewhere. Such behavior contradicts our civilizational essence. Dialogue and discussion, not conflict, are the way forward. Internal fighting strengthens our enemies and provides material to divide us." All of this taken together, and then moments later, of course, a few hours later, he decides to put his resignation forth. Coincidence? Wearisome? Health complications? What's brought it all on?
Rahul, there's no denying the fact that, he would often be perturbed about the fact that how he was often facing personal attacks and constant shouting and tantrums being thrown inside the Rajya Sabha. And on multiple platforms, I remember he had met up with a group of women journalists just recently, and like many of us, and he would often talk about the fact that, I insist that inside my house, there is no one who's screaming and makes a point without shouting at anyone. And I expect the same to happen inside Rajya Sabha. I think what really hurt him and upset him was also the impeachment proceedings, which many of the opposition leaders wanted to move against him, because they had accused of him of being partisan, obviously because of technical grounds, because of faulty signatures. That impeachment motion of his was not even accepted. But that hurt has always remained with him. He was addressing, the one you're quoting, he was actually addressing some probationers in the academy, and he was speaking to young, bureaucrats, and he was telling them that, you do not do things for semantics. You don't start shouting because you want to grab the eyeballs or to be on television. You really have to settle down amicably, and there has to be a sense of bonhomie. There were two very big issues which are closest to his heart of late. One, of course, was to maintain a decorum inside the house. He would, he knew most of the MPs, even the ones he had a spat with, Jaya Bachchan for that matter, Mr. Kharge with that matter, Derek O'Brien for that matter. But there were always those jests, those one-liners coming in from him. And he was known to have those long lines, long speeches, and those interactions. That's one. I think he felt very strongly about his impeachment proceedings against Justice Verma, because he himself comes in from the profession, and he used to say that you have to be like Caesar's wife. You have to be above any kind of a suspicion. And this is something which would have been closest to his heart if he had been around as the Vice President of India to oversee the impeachment proceedings. Very significant 145 signatures today on the impeachment proceedings. And you have the man who would have overseen it also stepping down as the Vice President of India.
Yes, Payal, of course, he single-handedly, Dr. Ranganathan also there with us in the frame. Payal, he single-handedly drove this agenda. Let's be honest, when no political party or politician was willing to touch the nettle of judicial impropriety, he started and kicked off the debate. And it was a very pro-public view that he was expressing about transparency, because at the end of it, its judiciary is about trust and the people's trust. So he was talking, in fact, in those terms. But just give us a background on Jagdeep Dhankhar, his relationship with the Prime Minister, his relationship with the President of India, and some of the other top leaders on both sides of the aisle. This is not a man who is only restricted to only one treasury bench, etc., etc.
Well, of course, Mr. Dhankar would not have been in the post that he rarely was if he did not have the backing of the BJP or the Prime Minister in particular as well. Remember, the Prime Minister has seen him, fight some cases in Gujarat as well. That is where he was first spotted, and, then he was asked to come and join the BJP. That is something which has been there, and that is something which has been noticed as well. But what really transpired over the last few months remains to be seen, given the fact that it was not only the opposition leaders who were extremely unhappy with the way in which he treated them or probably dismissed their concerns at multiple occasions. And that has been something which has been there, but sometimes he's been very unkind in his conversation about union ministers as well. For example, pulling up Shivraj Singh Chauhan at a public gathering and saying, "But what are you doing and what is the government doing?" About the farmers in the country as well. So those kind of comments that he's been making in the public, especially with the governance as well, sometimes has not gone too well with the government side as well, Rahul. Let's talk straight as far as that is really concerned. Of course, health is the primary reason that is cited right now for stepping down, but this has been absolutely unprecedented because you've had Venkaiah Naidu in the past. When this government came in, he was made the vice president a few years later after Hamid Ansari. And Venkaiah Naidu had completely smooth relations both with the opposition as well as the ruling side. And that is something which many leaders, especially in the opposition, really miss.
So now, just very quickly, there is a procedure that kicks in. Next 60 days, the election must be held. Two fronts have now opened up. The BJP itself is trying to pick its own president, so it was distracted with that work. And now, of course, Payal, you have this added responsibility. Is it going to be easy to pick someone of his stature to step in to this breach? Number one, are there leaders that the BJP already has sort of been talking about? Because if it's health, then it must have been an issue that, people were aware of in government.
Well, absolutely. Nothing happens overnight, Rahul. There is a planned procedure which is in place as well. Probably he communicated with the government that he wasn't in the best of health and wanted to step down as well. And like I mentioned today, throughout, you've never seen these scenes in Parliament. I saw the entire jing bang of the BJP, the entire top ministers in the government sitting in a closed door meeting with Rajnath Singh. Before that, they had an hour and a half long meeting with the Prime Minister himself as well. So obviously a lot of action was happening, and in the Rajya Sabha you could see multiple leaders of the BJP coming to the office of Mr. Rajnath Singh and talking to Amit Shah and the other leaders as well. So we knew something was really coming up. There's been a lot of buzz saying that the government will do something big, and probably a lot of fingers were being pointed out that probably some form of Jammu and Kashmir statehood was going to be restored. But this was happening in the background. Like I said, there's been a very, very busy day in the day for Kiran Rijiju as well. This afternoon they had a meeting of the Business Advisory Committee and there was no consensus which was arrived at. So obviously it was not the best of days as far as Mr. Dhankar was really concerned. And in terms of what he wanted to really do and, in fact, set the ball rolling for having a discussion on Operation Sindoor, etc., was really concerned. But like I said, it's not a decision that has been taken overnight. It must have been a well-thought decision, and it's happening in the middle of the Parliament session, which is even more surprising. But the government of the day has numbers in place, and if they have to elect somebody as the Vice President from here on, they're very confident that the numbers are not a problem.
Numbers are not a problem. Of course, you'll have to find a person who balances the various political contingencies, isn't it, Aman? That's going to be very important. As a farm leader coming at a time, very critical farm interests were being sort of talked about. There was disaffection amongst farmers. He played a role, actually, in also tiding those issues over with farmers in negotiations for the BJP, for the government, for, of course, Indian politics as such. So he had a larger role and he was trusted. And he also spoke in farmer interest. So that was a very important constituency. Do you see that a continuation, another farm leader coming in, or do you see somebody else from another sector completely unrelated?
It's the most tough question to predict whom the BJP is going to choose next for any position. So, we should not hazard any guesses here. But yes, I think the BJP will take a considered decision. Now we know why the Prime Minister was meeting all his senior ministers today. Obviously, the government knew that Mr. Dhankar had given in his resignation.
Yeah.
And maybe this meeting was a fallout of that.
Okay, just hold on for a few seconds. We have Priyanka Chaturvedi, senior leader of the UPD Sena, with us on the line. Priyanka Chaturvedi, you have this sudden news that has broken on all our channels, of course, suggesting that Jagdeep Dhankhar, the Vice President, had to step down, citing health reasons. Your response?
No, I'm equally surprised as all the news channels are, because Jagdeep Dhankhar ji, even at the peak of when he was unwell, he was conducting the parliament and he was part of the parliamentary procedure. And despite having ill health, he used to ensure that he was present in the parliament. So for him to suddenly resign has come as a shock to me, despite him having his obvious disagreements with me. I'm hoping that he would relook at his resignation. And I also, of course, wish him good health in case that is seriously a problem, because he was absolutely conducting the proceedings of the parliament today in the Rajya Sabha through the day. And he took breaks in between, but he was absolutely fine. So I'm hoping that he would continue being in the position that he's been serving in the parliament.
Well, taking an enlightened view here, Ms. Chaturvedi, thank you very much. But I just want to ask you, because there has been a back and forth going on between the opposition and Mr. Dhankar. There was a failed attempt at impeaching him that sort of broke his heart. At least that's what he said in public. So it's very nice to hear from you that you would actually want him to continue. Do you think that relationship was far too broken?
No, despite that heartbreak that he went through of the no confidence motion that came out of absolute frustration of the opposition, where we were made to believe that we do not have a voice, and it came as part of the parliamentary procedure. Please understand, the parliamentary process does not in any way undermine a person's position. We express our no confidence on a certain situation and situations that were prevailing then. But at no point in time did we want him to step down suddenly the way he has stepped down. So I'm hoping he's absolutely fine. I'm hoping his health keeps him well. But at the same time, I also feel that he relooks at the sudden resignation that has come about.
Okay, Ms. Chaturvedi, thank you very much for joining us. Of course, political reactions as of now guarded, as is natural, because we don't have the full facts before us, viewers. We've only got a statement to go by. Dr. Ranganathan is here with us. I'll also want to get a quick comment on that first initial reaction from the opposition, from both Payal, Aman, and of course Pallavi, who's here with us. Dr. Ranganathan, we're talking about an individual who had run-ins with the opposition. I came to you a little earlier and I asked you whether that might have played on his mind. This had gone beyond what one would basically simply categorize as the hurly-burly of politics. This was a divorce that had taken place, complete lack of trust in the person's personage as far as the opposition is concerned. And do you think that could be some sort of a pressure point? I'm just saying the government might want somebody who's, I don't know, more amenable?
I doubt that. That's my personal opinion. I think we're really living in an age where acrimony is the name of the game, to be honest. Ever since 2014, we've seen that. And I think the importance of Mr. Dhankar was all the more vital for the government, because he was a man who had been or fought elections representing almost all the major parties. I mean, he was in Janata Dal famously with VP Singh ji and Chandrasekhar ji. Then he was with the Congress. He fought on a Congress ticket. Then he switched to BJP, and then he had a governorship role. So he was vastly experienced in dealing with acrimony that comes across as normal between political parties. So I don't think that could be the reason. I think his, as he complained of chest pain and something back in March, that possibly, and I think the government did not expand on what exactly was the ailment. But I wish him all the very best. I know how what that pain is, so I really am hoping for all the best for him. Yeah.
Well, let's go across to Kalyan Banerjee, Member of Parliament from the TMC, that had an unfortunate run-in with Mr. Jagdeep Dhankhar. a few sessions of Parliament back. Mr. Banerjee, thank you very much for speaking to us. Your first thoughts on this surprise move by Mr. Dhankar to step down?
No, I have heard this news,
yes,
and I have also seen the copy of the resignation letter. I take these things on its face value that he is unwell, and it is correct that he was also admitted into the hospital for long times. He was there. Earlier session, immediately after earlier session, he was possibly admitted into the hospital for a long time. I take it as its face value, and I will only pray before the God that whether he remains as the Honorable Vice President or not, he should remain well, physically should remain well. That is the only prayer of mine before the God.
Mr. Banerjee, you had, of course, an unsavory incident where you imitated him. Some people said mocked him, etc., etc. How do you look back on that incident today?
In the politics, everything is okay. There is nothing wrong. Thereafter, he called me also. I had a talk with him also long time. Mm-hmm. He also, on my birthday, he also blessed me. I had no personal anything against him. All the time I have respected him. But in politics, everything is done. Everything is gone. That is, there is no difficulty. But today he is unwell. He has said he is unwell, and I am accepting that he is unwell. I don't think that he can say any incorrect statement he cannot make, because we are colleagues in the profession. He is senior in my profession. I have great respect for him. I know him. Leave aside politics, I have respect for him.
Now, you mentioned a conversation between you and him after that unsavory incident. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? What exactly happened? Who picked up the phone? Who called whom?
Who called whom?
Did you call him or did he call you? How did that
he
conversation?
He called me on 4th January, immediately on the next year.
Right.
On my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And he expressed his goodwill for me. That time I had a talk for long. He also said that whenever your wife will come, you come to my residence. I said, yes, sir, of course we are having a long relationship, not today's relationship. Long relationship. We are in the profession, legal profession for long.
Well, was you disappointed, Mr. Banerjee, when you mocked him or tried to copy him?
Listen, I don't know whether he has also said, it chalta hai politics mein. Chalta hai.
The reason I'm asking you is because, he was under a lot of pressure and sometimes this kind of unsavory combativeness can put pressure on people's health also. So, could that have been a factor?
Yes. If you hold a high post, you always have a high tremendous pressure.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not hold high post, there would not be high pressure.
Right. So you're saying that is unlikely to have been a factor.
Listen, a post of the chairman or a post of the speaker is always they face odd situation. That one has to accept that.
But there was an unprecedented attempt to impeach him.
That is a part of a politics.
Yeah. But do you think politics from the opposition side crossed a Rubicon when they also went to impeach him? That hurt him a lot. It broke his heart, he said.
Which one? I could not follow you.
The attempt to impeach him, if you remember. That motion that was brought to impeach him.
That is also part of politics. He knew that.
Okay.
And that the impeachment notice will not be passed, that also he knew. He also knew that.
Mm-hmm.
That will not touch his... But I just tell you one thing.
Yes,
I am taking his every word in his resignation letter as correct.
As face value.
That's all. There should not be any debate on that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Banerjee, for speaking to us. Mr. Banerjee, of recounting the incident that played out so publicly, viewers, in January, when Kalyan Banerjee on the steps of the Dwar into Parliament mocked Vice President, and that led to a massive political controversy. The Vice President was heartbroken. He came out and he made some statement saying that I'm a senior. And of course, those issues were subsequently resolved and papered over. Health being cited as the reason for this dramatic development, viewers. The Vice President issued a statement saying that he's following health advice that has been given to him by his doctors. He's abiding by that medical advice and he's decided to step down. All of this, of course, comes in a very busy time of his career. Let me just bring in Smita Prakash, senior journalist. We also have with us our reporters and our senior editors who are lending their voice to this coverage. So, Smita Prakash, thank you very much. You've, of course, met Mr. Dhankar, interviewed him, came across a forthright man, spoke his mind, had no compunctions about entering into areas where ordinarily a lot of people would be reluctant to tread. But he did so. He talked about the opposition not quite playing a constructive role, talking about the opposition going too far and trying to have inserted the word secular and then opposing its removal, etc., etc. He's talked about judicial impropriety, which is really a touch-me-not in political discourse in this country. How do you view, A, this situation that has emerged, and B, what do you think has led to it? Do you think it's only purely a health issue?
Surprising thing that happened just now, his resignation. It's taken us all, I think, by surprise. And I would still go with it being, a health issue that would have prompted him. Look, I agree with you what you said, that he's very emotional. He's sentimental even, and given to bursts of emotions at times. But he is a seasoned politician. He's a member of the Indian judiciary. He's led a very, very impeccable public life. He has met with people who are disagreeable and who have disagreed with him. But he has a way of, in continuing with his relationships, even if he did not have similar views. Just a couple of months back, he invited some of the leading journalists for lunch. We sat with him for nearly 2 hours and he wouldn't stop chatting with us. He would talk all kinds of incidents he had dealing with politicians, the difficult nature of the job. And after that, and even before that, called us for breakfast, a couple of us individually and in a group. We discussed journalism, we discussed the state of the media, the state of politics, parliament, us covering the parliament, what are the problems that journalists face, what are the plus points in the new building. He discussed so many things. And of course, he has a very warm and affectionate family. So I don't think that he did not have, the checks and balances that a person in public life, sometimes they lack that. And because of that, it results in these spontaneous or sudden decisions, which could be viewed as hurt and anger. No, Mr. Dhankar has the support base and has the political maturity to not take such decisions. I would still go with it that it could be health reasons and maybe on doctor's advice not to be in a high pressure position that he is in currently.
So you're saying you're ruling out impulsiveness, you're ruling out reflexive reaction to opposition criticism. In fact, a few months ago, there were some articles that also appeared in certain sections of the media calling him an attack dog, a partisan attack dog of the government. So he's been under a lot of pressure, viewers. Stay on with me, Smita Prakash. I just want to quickly bring in Payal very quickly on this. Payal, okay, let me go across to Aman. Aman Sharma, any reaction? And of course, we have very senior journalists with us, Sanjeev Srivastava, also Mr. R. Rajagopalan, people who know government in and out. Pallavi is also there with us. Aman, any reaction coming from the government per se, even the BJP officially? We had Tuhin Sinha for his comment, but it was too early in the moment, so he didn't have much to say beyond just the functionary. So any reactions coming in?
Nothing so far officially from the BJP, Rahul, or from any of the senior ministers yet. I think everybody is processing what has happened, and I think I will take you back to earlier this evening, Prime Minister Modi holding this meeting with all his senior ministers, and I think that must have been over this issue because the resignation of the Vice President right in the middle of the monsoon session of Parliament. In fact, the monsoon session of Parliament has just begun today. It's the first day. So obviously it's a matter of, which required immediate discussion and maybe what's the way ahead. Yes, Mr. Harivansh will fill in the chair for the rest of the monsoon session. But this is a very important session where a discussion on Operation Sindoor is expected next week. The very, very important matter of the impeachment of Justice Verma is expected to come up. So these are very, very important matters, and obviously the government would want the best hands on the deck for these issues come up. So it's, I think, surprising for the government as well. But whatever word I'm picking up from the government, they are saying that whatever Mr. Dhankar has written in the letter, they are going by that. He is having health concerns. This goes back to March, as I was mentioning earlier, when he was admitted to AIIMS for 4 days following cardiac-related ailment. And maybe though he's very active, I think Rahul is perhaps the only functionary I know who's been holding an event daily. He's speaking almost daily at some event. He was, as I was saying earlier, Ram Madhav's book launch, where I met him last time, and he spoke for almost 40 minutes from the stage. So he looks very fit to me, and he's been doing events daily, speaking on a daily occasion at one event or the other. So it's quite surprising, but obviously these health concerns would have been paramount for him. He's 74 years of age, and of course nobody wants to take cardiac-related ailments, lightly.
True, it must have been something that got triggered in the last few hours, but you do mention that there was a big meeting. The Prime Minister was also part of it. He met with all his council of ministers. There was this, and of course senior BJP leaders, and maybe there was an inkling. So something has happened in the last 12-15 hours. Parliament, of course, the monsoon session, very, very critical monsoon session this time, Mr. R. Rajagopalan. Very surprising, the timing of this resignation. Some people are suggesting that the relationship between the opposition and Mr. Dhankar that had reached a low might have played some part in his decision. Maybe it pressured him too much. He felt stress. He felt that it was a rewardless task. Could it be?
Rahul, this very, very important thing is his health reasons we have to accept. It's a long statement. If it was politics, the politicians write only one line letter. I resign from the post. But it's a lengthy letter, number one. Number two, as a top functionary, first citizen of India, Madam Draupadi Murmu, President of India, I am very sure Dhankar would have taken Madam Murmu into confidence before writing this letter. Second, day before yesterday, when President and Prime Minister had a meeting, since then some speculation was on the air, but not about this. No one could predict this. Such a secrecy was maintained at the top level. Second, why should we do it? In the morning also, he was criticizing one MP who signed 2 times in the letter of impeachment of the judge, and also connected with, compared with the 50,000 rupees Abhishek Manu Singh seat se milata, like that. But my point is, who is going to be his successor? Mr. Narendra Modi has got a great problem of choosing. And moreover, my understanding after having covered a lot of years in Parliament, Sanjeev Shivachwa admits, our job is to speculate and also ensure Narendra Modi converts any crisis into an opportunity. He's a very best batsman for that. But Cabinet Committee on Security is the topmost body in the government of India. You have to select one vice president among that 5. Who is the fit person? Is it Rajnath Singh? Or Madam Nirmala Sitharaman? These are all certain things. Because Narendra Modi, who is traveling day after tomorrow to UK, and from there he is going to Maldives. He is addressing a meeting in Chennai, coming back after 6 days. So therefore, this will be hogging in his mind. Politically, I would like to say, is it also connected with BJP selection of president and also the vice president? Is there any cabinet reshuffle? These are all certain questions will come out, sir. That is the headache for the government. And opposition is also very, very, nasty with the vice president. They wanted to impeach him. That also would have gone much deeper into his heart, because almost all the vice presidents, at least I have seen Shankar Dayal Sharma was irritated by Mr. P. Chidambaram. And similarly, M. Venkaiah Naidu was irritated by the Congress benches. So even BJP irritated the president, vice president, the chairman of this. Therefore, some irritation point. But his long letter gives an indication that he is not feeling good health. That may be the reason. Even last week he was in Coimbatore. He was in Ooty. He addressed the media. He addressed the person. And Mr. Jagdeep Dhankhar, I would like to say something more deep into it. We have to wait and watch for another 2 or 3 days.
Something of speculation here. Mr. R. Rajagopalan, you can't take him lightly, viewers, because he has a year very firmly to the door of government. Stay on with me. I'm joined by a senior politician, Ashok Chavan Sahab, who is, of course, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Mr. Chavan, this big news has broken. And it's an important development, obviously, at the start of a very crucial and consequential session of Parliament. Your response, sir?
Well, this is rather a surprise to us that our chairman of our house, our Rajya Sabha, has resigned, and we were not in the... It was not in our knowledge that any such thing was about to happen. Such a fine chairman of the Rajya Sabha had very excellent relations with all the sections of the House and conducted the House in a very democratic and proper way. And excellent parliamentarian, a person with a lot of experience as a governor, and then earlier in his state also he has performed very well. So it is rather a surprise for us that he has resigned, and of course the reasons is health grounds. Well, we wish him speedy recovery, but he will be happy if he continues.
Sir, did you have any inkling? Any time through the day today, there were a lot of meetings. The Prime Minister was chairing a few meetings. There was a lot of what they say is orchestrated events today in the House. So do you believe that this was on the card, something that gave you the impression?
No, we had no inclination about any such thing would happen.
Right, right. Thank you, Mr. Savan. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Let's just open this up. I want to bring in Pallavi. I also want to bring in Sanjeev Srivastava. Important points raised by Mr. R. Rajagopalan in his analysis, not ruling out anything. That's very much like him, but also it does prompt questions. Pallavi, the timing, I mean, it looks very precipitate. Something must have happened, over the last 2 or 3 hours, because you yourself are saying that, he started the House today. There was, of course, there was a tweet from him this morning, and the relationship, of course, with the opposition has never been good. But something must have really triggered this. Big. I think you're on mute, Pallavi. Yeah. Yes. Can you hear me?
I mean, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So, but Rahul, he has been traveling extensively. I mean, he's been going to Rajasthan, Coimbatore, as we were talking about. He's been meeting up with people. And if you just scroll down his archives, he's been meeting up with many senior politicians as well. Mr. Kharge, Arvind Kejriwal, a large number of young people as well. Frankly speaking, I think we are going to do a little bit of disservice to him if we are going to be suggesting that he buckled under any kind of a pressure coming in from the opposition parties. There's no denying the fact that he would be hurt, but he was an extremely strong person. I mean, we would meet him because, he would love to meet women journalists, and he would often talk about the fact that, he was always, one thing you notice about him, wherever he traveled, any official function he went for, his wife was always by his side. And he would say that, I am nothing without her. And that was something which was very, very clear, and which is why I remember when he had that interaction with large number of women journalists, on stage, he insisted that his wife sits next to him. And every time we wanted to go up and ask him a question and we spoke to him, he would actually feel his wife. So, his source of strength was always his wife. He was extremely strong. I mean, he is extremely strong. He certainly does. I mean, he's a well-weathered politician. I mean, he's also someone who comes in from a judicial background. Remember 5 years of dealing with a Mamata Banerjee government? Trust me, Rahul, it's not really been that easy. It couldn't have been that easy. So that man has been toughened by his tenure as a governor of West Bengal. So what he was dealing with, absolutely. What he was dealing with in Rajya Sabha, I would say, was very small in comparison to that. So I wouldn't do a disservice to him by saying that he buckled under pressure. Health, yes, very quickly, Rahul. I have been seeing him. Many of us have been watching him closely. He certainly seemed to be slowing down, and therefore I would certainly go by what he wrote in the letter extensively. I agree with Rajagopalan. That seems to be the health reason. Seems to be the one.
Tushar Gupta, your views. We also have Sanjeev Srivastava to come in. Yes.
I mean, it's quite a surprise. And now the next month will be spent guessing India's next vice president and BJP's next president.
Well, is it going to be easy? Two questions to you. Let me be very pointed. Number one, choosing a successor. Remember, he represented a certain very important constituency, the farmers' constituency. Ms. Murmu,
Yes.
the tribal constituency. So you have to also look at that in the background. And also and one has to stress this, the relationship right now with the opposition and the treasury benches is at its lowest point. I don't know if in the last 10 years it has been this low. So the opposition is going to, and with the numbers being as they are, it's going to be touch and go.
There's so many speculations at this point. Do you replace him with another farmer from Haryana or from the Rajasthan belt? Do you replace him with the former BJP president who also happens to be the defense minister right now? Do you replace him with a women cabinet minister and sort of send out the message of Nari Shakti with both the president and the vice president being women? So there are so many permutations, and we can just analyze at this point. The prime minister leaves in a day for a foreign visit to Maldives and the United Kingdom. So I don't know if the decision will be taken in the next 24 to 48 hours. So this will be a week-long speculation. Until then, obviously, the deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha, that's Harivansh Narayan Singh, will take over the proceedings. But there's so many permutations that need to be sort of factored in. And with the BJP, it's always very difficult to predict who's really going to be the winner at the end game. So at this point, we can just speculate. But yes, the resignation comes in as a surprise. I would thoroughly miss his banters with both the opposition and the government MPs. I think that is someone that we'll
Well, it's
surely
not
miss.
just banter. Let's be honest. I want to bring in Sanjeev Srivastava, and of course, Aman Sharma remains with us because, Aman, I want you to tie in this entire conversation at the end with a couple of questions that I want to ask of you. But Sanjeev Srivastava, how do you look at this? Look, I mean, this is an individual who's weathered many storms. He's taken on Mamata Banerjee on her fief. Some people say that he gave it as good as he got. At the centre, he started a debate on a very sensitive issue that very few politicians would have touched upon, which is judicial impropriety on the back of the Justice Verma scandal. Then, of course, there was this whole run-in over institutionalism and the importance of the opposition to do its due diligence when attacking institutions. Also playing a constructive role. There was this talk about the opposition feathering the bed of Naxals, etc., etc. You know what I'm talking about, which eventually resulted in a point break where they even sought to move an impeachment motion against him. So taking all that into account, your reaction, your analysis.
So Rahul, I have known Mr. Dhankar since 1987, 1988, when he was an upcoming lawyer in the Rajasthan High Court, and I was the express correspondent here in Rajasthan. And since then, I have seen him, how he has worked his way up, very hardworking. He's perhaps one of the most intelligent jats I have seen in the country. He's such a ready wit, such quick thinking on his feet, and he was always very, very ambitious. So this thing about him buckling under some kind of opposition pressure is the first thing which I want to rule out completely. He is somebody who has worked his way up, really wanted to reach where he has, and he wouldn't have given up for some opposition making noise, something, this and that. That's completely just not on the cards. Yeah, and he has seen not just Mamata Banerjee, that's fairly recent. He has been a Congress MLA, then he joined NCP, then he joined the BJP. He was so many times in the running to become a Rajya Sabha MP, and his luck would have it, just look at his good fortune, he became the chairperson of the House, of which an MP he could not become despite his best efforts in the early 2000s. So he has had a very checkered career, one of the brightest minds, and the thing which I'll repeat, opposition will have nothing to do with it.
Well, they must be. We even spoke to Kalyan Banerjee, Mr. Srivastava. I don't know if you heard that conversation. And he was sort of also saying, no, we would like him to continue, etc., etc.
No, it is not a question of what the opposition may like. Dhankar is the last person who would run away or kind of think of quitting because of opposition.
Right.
So I would not speculate what could be the reason, but the his health has been challenging. He fell ill even during his visit to Himachal Pradesh last month, if you remember, and there was a press release issued. So obviously he must have been very concerned about that, but at the same time, he was constantly on the move. At least twice a week he was coming to Rajasthan only. And he was going all over the country, addressing seminars, taking questions. Even I think yesterday or day before he had I saw on YouTube a long interaction of his. I met him about, I think, May end with my family in the Uprashpati Niwas, and he looked fine. And so it is a bit of a shocker. It's very sad that, and it will be very challenging. Like Rajgopalan was saying, the BJP has suddenly now too many issues on his hand.
Yeah, too many fronts.
They have to tackle the opposition. They have to find the party president, which is the subject of so much speculation. And now on top of it, they have to look for a vice president. Unless, I don't think Mr. Dhankar will change his mind now. But if something happens, nothing can never say never.
Yeah.
But there are just too many things on the Prime Minister's plate as of now.
Okay.
One of which is,
Mr. Rajagopalan. Let him come in on this. He's raising his hand. And yes, I want to bring in Aman right after.
Rahul, I will take Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava's point ahead. He has made very clear in his resignation letter that he resigns under the constitution. He has given reference about 67A or something in his first paragraph itself.
Yeah.
Second, Union Council of Ministers or President, they cannot reject this. Therefore, his resignation is final. He cannot withdraw.
Okay.
He cannot be rejected. Neither President Murmu cannot say, I am ignoring this. It's not a politics.
No. It is only if he is persuaded to reconsider. Right. That is the only possibility.
Even then, that means that
I know it's an outside possibility, but that is the only way.
Okay, so look, let's not get tied down on that.
And that's only in the spirit of never say never.
Yeah, okay, spirit of never say never. Let me just bring in Aman Sharma very quickly. Aman Sharma, many fronts now opening up for the BJP. They're in the midst of picking ostensibly, and this has been a long drawn-out process now, almost 6 months. A new president, there's been so much talk. There's also the Bihar election, hotly contested. You have a farmer constituency that remains unrequited in some ways. And now, of course, you have Mr. Dhankar, who was a leading light of the farmer constituency, the Jat constituency, as Sanjeev Srivastava and Mr. Rajagopalan have spoken about. So a successor will have to be sort of chosen, keeping that also in mind. Is it going to be challenging? The opposition has decided to dig its heels in. It's combating the government on every front. Numbers also could prove tricky in a scenario like this.
Well, yes, I think Rahul, government has its hands full. As you said, many issues are pending. The issue of the BJP president has been pending like forever. Every time you put out a story saying that it's going to be done in now, this month, next
not that
month.
That is a government issue. I'm talking about the BJP. The BJP has its hands full. Yeah.
Absolutely. BJP has its hands full as well. I'm in the BJP president post. One interesting fact I would like to just highlight that interestingly at 3:53 p.m. today, the Vice President office put out a PIB statement saying that the Vice President will be traveling to Jaipur on Wednesday on an official assignment.
Oh.
So it's very, very surprising that, the resignation comes just a few hours after that. So I would like just trying to join the dots. But that said, yes, I think...
and when was the meeting that the Prime Minister had with some of his other colleagues today?
This was shortly thereafter. It was around 4 p.m. and 4:30 that the Prime Minister was meeting the top ministers inside Parliament as well. So I think something may have happened suddenly. I'm not very sure, and I would not like to speculate. But 3:53 p.m. we have this statement from his own office that is going to be traveling as the Vice President after 2 days to Jaipur. That said, Rahul, I think the successor choice, as I said, in BJP, it's very, very difficult to predict what the BJP is going to do. Nobody really knows. We didn't even know about the Vice President's resignation, so we are not really wiser about who will be the successor. But I think Mr. Harivansh, I would say, who's filling in the chair of the Vice President, at least for this monsoon session of Parliament, interestingly, he comes from Bihar. So, maybe he's seen a very...
He comes from Jharkhand, says Mr. Srivastava. Okay, well, look, viewers, we leave it at this. A dramatic development this evening, breaking on the hard facts at 9:30 with the first channel to put out this news. Vice President Dhankar, the leading light of the government, in a sense, viewers, government's point of view, reflecting the government's point of view, has decided to step down, citing health grounds under 67A of the Constitution, in accordance with Article 67A of the Constitution. So big development catching the nation by surprise is going to lead to a large number of unintended political consequences, decision making in the next few days. We leave it at this. Thank you for watching.
Co-presented by. This is News 18 Network.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. China is building its latest weapon. It's not a virus, it's not a missile, it's a dam. The world's largest dam being built on the Brahmaputra River. Why does it pose a threat? And what is India doing to counter it? We'll tell you on the show tonight. In New Delhi, Parliament opens with an address by the Prime Minister. We'll tell you what he said about Operation Sindoor. In Japan, a YouTuber is shaking up politics and dealing a blow to the country's ruling party. We'll look at